just pieces that really we found they kind of touched us for different reasons. So Johnny is here with me as well. Johnny McElleron, the editor of the limited edition, the founder of the Watch Press, and the founder of the International Festival of Time in Waterford. These are the many hats, Johnny, that you wear, and all in the name of independent watchmaking.
Oh, my hats. Yes. I love all my hats, Pietro. Thank you very much for Listen, I have to tell you the truth here. We missed that little bit of intro because the video overrode your audio. So while you were busy introducing, maybe you'd like to do it again and explain what we're doing here today, Pietro, because we didn't catch
Absolutely.
that.
So this is the independent, your broadcast on your window on the world of independent watchmaking. We are just fresh back from Geneva Watches and Wonders 2024. And today, Johnny and I are back with Independence to give you our short lists of the best watches we have seen in Geneva, the ones that have touched us, from an emotional, intellectual, and whatever point of view we thought they deserve a mention. And today we're going to do exactly that. We feel very bad about watches that we may not mention because we have seen a fantastic energy throughout Watches and Wonders within the PAL Expo, but I have to say, Johnny, especially outside of the PAL Expo, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what your feeling was, but you tell me, what was your first feeling back from Geneva Watches and Wonders?
Oh, wow. Well, it was nose to tail from morning to night. It was flat out the whole way for us, Pietro. We had so much to see, and still we did not get to see everything that we would like to have seen, certainly in my case. It was an amazing weekend as ever, but it is a whirlwind of activity. And if you consider that if you get 8 appointments in one day, you are doing good work. 8 appointments over 4 or 5 days is no more than 40 brands at most. And that's only 1/4 of the brands that I know were exhibiting. So I found that of the selection that we've been talking about here today, you mentioned there that most of them were outside the PAL Expo. Funny thing is, 2 or 3 of them that I chose were inside the PAL Expo. And so, as you said, though, this is not a comprehensive or overview of the event itself. There are so many watches we could mention, Pietro. I could rattle off 3 or 4 off the top of my head. Raoul Paget's, Anton Stuanov. We saw the amazing return of the Joker by Konstantin Jaikin. We see also, who else? Sylvain Pinot. Lots of young people coming up.
I've seen the first watch by Jonathan as well, which I was really interested in seeing. I loved it. I've seen some special pieces by Andersen Geneva as well. We are being in the AHCI here, but Time to Watches was equally interesting. I was very impressed with the showcase that Behrens gave at Time to Watches. Behrens, the Chinese watchmaker, they're showing that over 10 to 15 years of experience in producing parts for the Swiss makers. Now they have acquired all the possible knowledge and they have actually pushed it even beyond. So I recommend, guys, you keep an eye on Behrens watches because I know that the astute collectors have already identified.
Isn't this crazy? Because I know we spoke for a few minutes before we hit the live button, and none of these brands were mentioned. And here we go. We're just rattling off. So,
today we have no agenda, so we are not interviewing a particular watchmaker. We are really giving our honest kind of emotional feedback the moment we come back from Geneva. So for those watches that once we came out from the meeting room or from the showcase, either Johnny would look at me or I would look at Johnny and Mickey, because Mickey was there with us as well, our partner from Switzerland.
Yeah, Mickey.
We would look at each other and we go like, wow, have you seen that? So these are the three watches where I did that, Johnny did that, and we're gonna put them out there. But first, Johnny, let's list the three watches we are feeling guilty about not mentioning in our final three short list. So what are the three watches that we feel it's really bad that we couldn't put it in our short list because we would have loved to? So I start from the first watch I saw actually entering the Pal Expo on the Monday morning, and it was a Trilobe, and it was the new Nuit Exquise, which is a piece that gave me that, the goosebumps that only some beautiful watches can give you. It didn't make it to my top three, but how did it work for you, Johnny? Did you like this piece? Did you share my feelings about what Trilobe have done here with the introduction of their first complication, actually, moon phase?
I have a big love for Trilobe, and honestly, I could have put this. I could have had 30 watches in my top three, Pietro. And what I've done, I've kind of gone with a theme with my selection. So I'll come back to that in a few minutes. So the L'Heure Exquise is, as it's aptly titled, the exquisite hour. Moon phase, which covers northern and southern hemispheres, that double moon phase. It's, for me, one of the most evocative, romantic, and poetic, if you like, movement or complications, the moon phase. And I love it. And what they've done, they've incorporated that, integrated it into their system of rotating discs, which display the hours and minutes, usually the seconds as well, but the moon phase takes over here. Or actually does it? No, because there's a little sapphire disc there.
Yeah,
that
rotates. In this case, it was on the Matinot, Le Matinot, which was the debut piece. So the layout is the one of Le Matinot.
Yeah, because if you look at that at the dial there in the center of or around the moon phase, there's a starry sky. That starry sky is actually a sapphire disc that is constantly rotating. So that caught me, because whenever I was writing with this, I didn't twig that was actually rotating as once every minute, and adds a beautiful animation to
and deceivingly is actually rotating anti-clockwise, if I'm not mistaken. So it gives you the idea of it's not quite a small seconds, but it gives you the idea that the watch is actually in motion, and it completes a rotation in 60 seconds. So it can be kind of seen. And it's it's a great, simple, minimalistic way of integrating a complication on a design that has been redone, because how the Breguet numerals have been set out on both discs for the hours and the minutes is really stylish. Really, really French. I mean, that you cannot see a bit of a Louis Vuitton-esque kind of taste there that reminds to obviously the French cultural background. And
Hermes possibly as well. Yeah.
Hermes, sorry, I said Louis Vuitton. I wanted to say Hermes. Sorry, thank you for correcting me. Hermes, definitely. And it's as they are moving into their premises to make all their watches in France, this looks absolutely like the perfect piece to launch at this moment in time.
Cool. Yeah. So next up, then.
This is the one we are the first guilty pleasure or non-pleasure, because it didn't make it to our top three. Let's go to the next one, which is from a master watchmaker that we love. We love him. We love his family. Most exquisite people you come across with, and we have done events in London. We have collaborated with this master watchmaker, and Johnny, we have a master class that we will broadcast on this very channel very soon, when Johnny and I will be called to talk about escapements, and with one of the real masters, Bernard Lederer, somebody that has actually collaborated at the time. I mean, he has known and taken advice from not less than George Daniels. So the CIC Central Impulse Chronometer, one of the most stunning chronometers out there, is being now presented in a 39 millimeters case, but that's not the only evolution, no, Johnny?
Correct. If you're looking at this and thinking, why are the guys talking about the CIC as a novelty when we've already seen it now for 2-3 years? It's because it's the new 39 millimeter case. As you say, Pietro, it's more than that, because the movement, the original movement, would not fit. The 41.5, I think, would not fit in that. So most watchmakers, I would say, would just say 39 millimeters, the movement's too big, let's do something different. Not Bernard Lederer. Bernard Lederer has taken every component in this watch and reduced the size, scaled it down, so as he has a movement which still fits right to the edge of the case, and has the box style sapphire crystal on the back where the movement literally fills it out completely. And amazing. So that is some level of dedication to this, and say that we are going to push through with this to reduce every component in that mechanism, except I think for the balances and or the balance, but everything else is reduced to fit the new case size. I thought it was remarkable and definitely worthy of being mentioned in our list of novelties, because this was new and very beautiful, and the size. Usually I go for a little bit for the 40 plus. This was absolutely beautiful on the wrist.
I love the small detail, which is not a small detail, but the detail of the double small seconds on the dial, which now has been changed to the first version, because before you used to have the two indications of the two double seconds that actually spin in opposite directions. Both of them were actually skeletonized. In this case, to improve the legibility of the seconds, Bernard thought to actually make a plain small second and a skeletonized small second. So you have both versions. And of course, the small second is conceived to accentuate, obviously, the horological marvel that this movement is, which is basically two movements that are connected together and working in unison. So the small second is supposed to show that there is a double output that is coming from this movement itself. So yeah, loving it, and I'm still not sure why we haven't put it in the first three. But in my case, it's probably because I got so excited about the CIC last year already that it was already on my list last year. So I guess I didn't want to repeat myself.
I understand. No, it's in a sense, it is something that people have. The concept has been with us for a little while now. It's just the nature of Bernard Lederer is, if you ever look up the word of perfectionist in the dictionary, it will say Bernhard Langer or Bernhard Lederer. Sorry.
Of course. Love that.
So
love that.
yeah.
And I give you news. I was speaking to Bernard today, actually, and he told me that he's now part of the committee of the AHCI, the Academy of the Horological Creators. We have the humble pleasure of being supporters and partners of the AHCI. So Bernard and also Ludovic Balouard are in the committee now, and they are definitely driving forces there, which is reassuring and which is very important.
They're two powerhouses indeed. So I think we'll move on to the next one, will we?
Absolutely. The last one was, we ended up at the Beau Rivage. One of the first makers we saw was Singer Reimagined, and Johnny and I had to sit comfortably and be very, very careful, because we were presenting something we had never seen before, and it took like a lecture from our friend Marco Borracino to explain how this crazy thing that you're seeing here actually works. This, Johnny, can we sum it up as the very first actual mechanical chronograph that can be used as a diving tool, and it's called the Divetrack.
I have thought about this watch, Pietro, since we returned from Geneva, and I think it is what it is. First is an instrument that tells the time, and it is geared firstly and foremost for the 24-hour cycle of the diver, whether it's a leisure or professional. It is an instrument which as you said, it took Marco had to explain this watch to us for about 30 minutes, and it made me think, why should someone have to explain a watch to me for 30 minutes? Surely it should be intuitive. But yes, if it was just a watch, it should be intuitive. But it really is an instrument. And there's three sections: fly, chill, and dive. Well, dive being the bigger section there. It's a 24-hour chronograph. So in this period of a day, if you activate the chronograph when you start, your day begins and you take to the water, and through using that little central scale and in association with the rotating bezel, you can time the amount of time that you've been in the water, the amount of time that you then need to chill, to relax out of the water before you can actually, it's safe to fly. Because again, not being a diver, Pietro, unfortunately, the water here is a little bit cold and for diving here. So if take me out to the Maldives, I might maybe understand it a little bit better. But it's dangerous to fly soon after diving, so you need to have a period of time to
chill,
allow your blood the oxygen in your blood to normalize again before it is safe to fly. And so the watch is centered around that. There you see the red safety feature there on the case side, which it swings over to allow access to the pusher. It's a safety device, which means that the pusher cannot be depressed accidentally, particularly when you're in the water. So it's Pietro, it is
there's so much. There's so much.
Watch, isn't it? It is for
absolutely
47 millimeters and
the case is in titanium, and it's got 3 sapphire glasses on the top, on the back, and also on the side where you actually read the time. And it's to complete what Johnny was saying as well, the watch is also can be used under the water and is able to help assist with calculating the decompression time and all what you would expect with that crown guard as well, making it safe and secure. So big kudos to Singer Reimagined for creating the first actually diving chronograph that will be forever remember as the Divetrack. We should move on now to the actual selection, because we've eaten pretty much half of the show by talking about what didn't make it in the selection for some reason, but for which we have maximum respect. So, Johnny, position number 3, your favorite watch of Watches and Wonders. Be my guest.
Okay, I am coming. As I mentioned, I have kind of got an angle on this and a theme. And that theme is brands which have been around for a while, but have defined an access point to the brand has never really been straightforward, because their watches are either very complicated or they're very aesthetically distinctive, that they maybe don't appeal to everyone. And so it has been difficult to find an access point to that brand. And so first, my 3 choices here all have done something to make them easier to access. And I'm going to go firstly with a brand which is also an individual, and Ivan Artia, who has created a watch called the Purity Stairway to Heaven. Now, it might have the craziest name of any watch that we've seen this year, but it is also a watch which is very, very practical because the time display is perfectly legible. It is set onto as ever with Artia watches. There are so many different variations that it's possible to get, whether it's in steel, whether it's in ceramic, I'll show here, or in sapphire crystal. I have to say, I'm not sure the white ceramic is just my style or not. You know, maybe I need to wear a
Oh,
different shirt
honestly,
there.
with that shirt, you can sport
A,
anything, Johnny. Honestly,
A,
I
easy.
think, and that looks like a picture of you at the Maldives. Actually, to go back on that theme,
That is,
I love the
yeah, well,
contrast. I love the contrasts within that white version because the white canva with the work on the on the dial that is pink gold and the rhodiumized, I guess, and anyway blackened details of that escapement bridge looks really good. I love that version in particular, and like you said, sometimes often an acquired taste Artia, because Artia is like a contemporary art gallery for watchmaking. So Ivan Arpa, he does what he wants on a daily basis. He gets a watch out every couple of days, every week for sure, and
yeah.
sometimes it's difficult to keep track. On this one, I think it's so streamlined that everyone can understand and can appreciate. I think, yeah, you were going on the black ceramic, the blue ceramic. I think there was a green as well, carbon fiber, I guess, version. Very cool. This is the green with the carbon fiber on the side. Very cool, very cool.
The thing about Artia watches is that they're very often unique pieces. And so what is happening here is that each one of these are a limited edition. So they're not going to be
Yeah,
produced
if
in their
not unique pieces.
correct. Yeah. So there's actually for which is unusual for Artia. It's almost like a production model, except okay, yeah, they are limited. I think I can't remember, Pietro. Was it 100 pieces?
For the
I,
Starway to Heaven.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, I think it's 10 pieces each per color.
10 pieces each.
Yeah.
And again, this is another variation of it. You can see the detail of that weave along the side of the case. And
We should also when many brands obviously explain that it takes ages to develop a caliber, it takes ages to develop a particular case. Well, Artia, they own their own case manufacturers, so they are on a
yeah,
daily basis experimenting on new cases, so that's not an issue for them. And also they have a very strong partnership with Telos, the watch movement manufacturer.
movement maker.
um, yeah, movement maker, and they also are quite agile in proposing solutions to Artia that fit their particular artistic style. So they are, I think they are the kings of the sapphire cases, which are not my taste normally, because I think they sometimes it's deceiving. Sapphire looks a bit plasticky, but what
Yeah.
Artia do is completely the opposite. They look very rich, very well done, very sharp, and to me Starway to Heaven starting at 23,000 Swiss francs, I think. Something like that is definitely a great way to get an art piece in your collection.
Absolutely. Where do you want to go next, Pietro?
Oh, I'll start with a fairly simple one because this is just a matter of taste. The Kudoke K3 was launched last year, which really surprised me for the ingenuity and the idea of showing the time in a completely different way. But this year, I just love this contrast of colors with the salmon plate that has been added to this dial to create contrast, to then be able to even more spontaneously and easily read the time that is showcased up there, where you can see it's 10 o'clock. Of course, by the time it's showcased with a system of three rings, that actually there are three rings showing the three different times scales, and then there are the three hands. One of them is now under the plate that rotate all day long, showing you the different time in a different position of the scale that you see there at 12 o'clock. So now you can clearly see it's 10 o'clock. But this one is an easy one, and I love this. I love how it looks. I love how deceivingly classic. It is classic, but at the same time it's actually very groundbreaking in many ways, um, sophisticated as well, and greatly executed when you think that Kudoke is pricing these at less than 10,000 euros with an in-house
Yeah,
manufacturer caliber as well. We know the story on the back of the initial collaboration with Hebring, etc., etc. So I just love this, Johnny. Yeah, pure, beautiful horology in my view.
I cannot argue with that at all. And as you say, what's happening there? You've got the minutes, the central minutes hand, and you have the hours, which are indicated by the hour hands are three different lengths, varying lengths. So each one of them correlates to a particular section of that little time display. Beautiful, absolutely. And Stefan and Ave are amazing people, great people, great energy behind that brand, and it's fantastic to see that a small artisan who started off just doing his engraved work has evolved so well to become, GPHG winning, and also GPHG nominated for over the last few years. So yeah,
Yeah,
fantastic.
always
Absolutely.
in that discussion, and I think at the GPAG they are increasing again the price level for the Petit Aiguille price. I think so. Kudoke, they were slightly out of that category last year. I think they will be back in that category, but these are just my speculations. So, but I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen over there as well. Johnny, silver medal in Johnny's
Silver
ranking
medal.
list.
Yeah. If you ask me in an hour's time, I might nominate something different. Because I've been looking through my images of all of the watches that we saw there, and I go, why did I not nominate? Why did I not propose that? Anyway, it is what it is. We are not the definitive judges on this. Everyone has their own tastes, and so the next one I chose again was because I thought it has. Of a brand that is very, very, as I said, distinctive, very technical, very sophisticated, very unique in what it does with its time display, and yet a brand that I always found, if I had the choice, the resources there, just to go, yep, I think I'll buy that. Would I? Up until now, I am not convinced that I would have confidently walked up to the counter and said, "Mister, could I have that watch?" And I am talking about a brand that is known for its hydro-mechanical time displays and have previously had these open work dials with crazy futuristic regulators with using fluid being pushed around a capillary. Amazing to look at. I'm not so sure about living with them on a day-to-day basis. Any opinions on day-to-day living with HYT, Pietro?
Oh yeah, it's been
Enough
it's
said.
with HYT has been one of the funniest kind of entertaining projects we've been involved with since the beginning. We've always believed in the project. Obviously, they went through
Yeah.
some turbulent times, and we were waiting for them to come up with something strong, and they didn't. They didn't disappoint, I have to say, Johnny. And also, I'm loving the fact that when we started this adventure together, Johnny, you and I, 10 years ago, you were the one with more of a classic taste in a way, whereas I was always kind of the one coming out with this at the time crazy, ideas like HYT, Artia, for example. And looking at your selection, I'm really impressed to see how things can actually change. And yeah, I love the new 45 millimeters T1. I love this redesigned case. It really works. It blinks an eye clearly to the current design codes that are all for sharp lines. If you look at luxury
It
cars, for
it
example.
is super legible. It is super light. These are titanium cases. This is the T1 titanium silver. The one we just saw was the rose gold with titanium, which I have to say, just going to go back for a moment, was my favorite on that strap. The
Yeah.
straps are also so easily interchangeable. There's just a little click button in behind, which I'll show here. If you can see at each end of the
Yeah.
case, so there's a little button you press down with your fingertip, and it releases the strap.
We tried it. We tried it ourselves. It really, really works smoothly.
We did, yeah. It was cool, and we had a lot of fun with that. There also the amazing Carla, who is their representative there, is just non-stop, and the presentation lasted for about 20-25 minutes, and where she got her breath in, I do not know. She was just absolutely on fire. But look at this. This is not, it's like HYT in conventional mood or mode, and it is, as I said, the key word with my 3 selections are accessible, and how someone who has been aware of the brand but has maybe been afraid to take that plunge and jump into the brand, now you've got a watch that is absolutely practical. The hours and minutes are almost
there was nearly in the previous versions, for as spectacular as they were, sometimes they could have been a bit overwhelming with the amount of stuff that would be going on with the watch. Whereas here, covering the front and just giving all the center stage to the fluid module in the front on the dial, and then keeping the mechanics merely for the back, for the case back, where you can obviously see the work of Eric Coudray on that particular caliber that has been adapted to kind of mix and be how can I say, merged into the with the fluidic module. I think it works better in a way. So you enjoy the fluidic module at, on the dial with this beautiful brushing of the dial itself that gives a great depth. And then as you turn the watch, you stare at the mechanical complications. So for me, yeah, well done. It really works. And I can only agree with your selection, Johnny. Well done.
Yeah, finally, there's a HYT that I would walk in and say to the HYT man, please, could you wrap that up for me? Because I would wear that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and price range, I think we are slightly below 50,000 K, which is obviously a lot of money, but it's something that is on the affordable side when you know about the fluidic technology and how much an Eric Coudray customized caliber is going to cost you, of course.
For sure.
So, yeah, on to the next one. This is very easy for me as well. So my top 3 is it was easy because I couldn't not put them in the top 3. So for as difficult it was to keep out some others, but Vianney Halter is one of my heroes. You know Johnny very well. When we started with the limited edition, I said, if one day we can even be able to propose watches like this, we would have achieved what we are dreaming of. And today we are well on a path with Vianney. We had the pleasure of creating unique pieces of the deep space. We have the pleasure to have collaborated with some even other projects that we can't mention, but to have sold many of his timepieces. And this one is the last series ever of the classic. A classic that has brought Vianney Halter into the, I wouldn't say affordable, but accessible, let's say, price point for a collection that normally goes easily over the 200, 300,000 Swiss francs. The classic, this is the most, I would say, I don't know, the most elaborated version of the classic, inspired totally to Art Deco, as you can see from not only from the fonts of the logo of the numerals, but Vianney went beyond and decided to create a 3D effect, both on the dial, where he worked on a contrast between a hammered frosted center dial and a structure of typically Art Deco elements that you'll find. I remember when working at Girard-Perregaux, they had an Art Deco building, which was the building of the movement manufacturing. And I remember some of the elements being very, very familiar to what I see here. And those rivets, he has worked on those rivets in the case one by one to create there also 3D, three-dimensional effects. For me, this piece absolutely works. It's one of the most beautiful watches altogether that I have witnessed in my lifetime. I mean, to be completely honest with you, Johnny, I just love everything about this piece.
So do I. It is, yeah. The again, you know that old mantra that I keep trotting out, that a watchmaker's personality is extended in the work that he does, and I think you can see this. There's a sense of uh, the design is literally bursting out of that with the whole Art Deco theme, the gold motif in the center, the numerals, as you say, the rivets, the this around the side of the case, the crown even is that distinctive Vianney
Yeah.
Halter with the it just oozes
Makes you smile. It
personality.
makes you, yeah, it makes you smile. It makes you
It makes you
happy to see something like this. Because
I,
I
I
don't know.
love the smile on your face, Pietro, and
Mm,
that is
yeah.
definitely one.
Thank you, Johnny. Do you feel that the classic is great, but of course it was an exercise for Vianney of style. So in trying to give an elegant interpretation of his work, but he's never really experimented on the three-dimensional side like he has done in some of the other collections. So this looks a bit like a bridge between the classic and the rest of Vianney's creations.
Good point. Well, it is a very sophisticated and elaborate case design as well. It's not just something that was off the shelf. The classic with the Art Deco central lugs. It's as we just said, it's a watch that puts a smile on your face, and a watch of great beauty to hold and to appreciate.
Absolutely. So, Johnny, we are the big moment, number one in Johnny's selection of Watches and Wonders 2024. What could that look like?
This again is about accessibility, and is a watch that I intend to nominate in the GPHG because I think it is a watch which has opened up a brand to a wider audience, and that brand is Arnold and Son, and the watch in question is the new Longitude. I have a few live images that I took myself, but they're not as good as the professional image. And this is the Longitude King Sand, which is a limited edition, which is being introduced just to welcome or to introduce the range to the Arnold and Son portfolio. The reason I say it's accessible is because Arnold and Son are known for their beautiful moon phases. They're also known for their their open worked and architecturally stunning creations. But they never really have a piece that you could just slip on anytime. And I think the Longitude is that piece for them. And as well as having the King Sand, which we're looking at here, they've also introduced ocean blue and fern green, which I'll look at in just a little moment. And to me, it's kind of like what Zapek did. They had these beautiful, complicated watches with enamel dials and guilloche dials, and they just lacked an entry point to the brand for customers who were tempted by the whole Zapek story, but found it just so that they wanted something that was wearable on a more daily
Yeah,
basis.
more
And
contemporary, more
if you
contemporary.
like. So I'm comparing the Arnold and Son Longitude to Zapek's Antarctique, which definitely pushed them into new territory. And this again, the images unfortunately not as clear because I didn't take them in landscape mode. I took them in portrait, and so we had to zoom in pretty close to get these images. But that's the fern green, vertical brush stroke on finish on the dial, which is continues out on, if you see, onto the case itself. So there's a uniformity in that brush stroke that goes along. I think it is an absolutely beautiful
And what a move
piece.
on I think it's the 260th anniversary this year, of course, of non-continuous activity, because John Arnold, everybody knows, was one of the most important British watchmakers who became pivotal for his studies on the longitude and for helping the British Navy to navigate the world at the time, but also was responsible for transferring most of the knowledge in watchmaking to the French watchmakers, and one above all, Abraham Louis Breguet, of course. So what a move to come out with a contemporary piece instead of a classic reinterpretation of John Arnold's work. And what a move to actually also position it at an entry price level, like you said, Johnny, which makes this particularly appetizing.
Again, I did not write down the prices of each of these collections when I was working on the images. I realized I should have. So I can't remember offhand what the entry. I think, is it 25 or 27,000 Swiss francs?
Oh, no problem with that. It's 19,000 excluding VAT.
Hey, wow.
Basically 20,000, 19,900 Swiss francs excluding VAT. And you find all, in the case of Arnold and Son, you find everything listed already on the website.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And maybe if I can, I will share my screen for a second, Johnny, so I can show some of the actual colors. I think it could be of interest for people to have a look. So
it's
we
very
also
watch. It's a
we pay tribute to Arnold and Son on their anniversary as well. Here you can see the same watch that Johnny was showing on his wrist, in a full screen, and the different versions available with the fabric strap and with the integrated bracelet, and not to forget the case back, which is absolutely stunning. We all know about the incredible economies of scale that Arnold and Son has with La Manufacture La Jouperet, of course, and they are able to offer great finishing and great mechanics at sometimes a fraction of the prices you'll find on the market. So it's as simple as that. So very, very interesting. I'll stop sharing right now if I can.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, all good. Yeah, so great choice, Johnny. And so we go back where we started with that famous video that we broadcasted at the beginning of this.
That we couldn't hear you over
I thought you could hear me, but probably you
I
couldn't.
see what's happening there. We've got you can see us spilling out over each end of it there. I'll try and remedy that, Pietro.
It's cool. As long as you can hear me now, we can run the video as well.
I'm going to run it again now. I'm going to put a black overlay.
Yeah, if you can hear me, I hope.
Run the video over that.
Yeah, you can see now.
Very
and if you're
listening, very slick.
If you're listening to this on the podcast, don't worry about it. We are actually looking at my personal choice, my favorite watch at Geneva Watches and Wonders 2024 is Jean-François Maugeon's Cyrus. It's actually the Ethereal Orbital Tourbillon. So Jean-François Maugeon is one of the characters I admire the most. For those that are more astute, you'll know that he was behind some of the most groundbreaking projects and are responsible of the moment in independent watchmaking that we're living now. So you mentioned Chapek before, Johnny, but we could mention MB&F as well. Trilob, Jean-François Maugeon was behind that project as well. So there's many. And here he has expressed his mechanical ability in a masterpiece. With the limited editions Instagram account, you can see a video I've taken where I show exactly the workings of this piece of beauty. There are obviously two flying tourbillons, one at 4 o'clock, one at 7 o'clock, and the whole plate of the whole movement that actually rotates on itself that can be seen frontally. The back case is also mesmerizing, a piece of mechanical beauty, and
it really is.
What I call the satellite hours, more correctly should be called as orbital hours. That triangle you see at 12 o'clock actually spins and rotates together with the rest of the movement to then give you different digits as the hours pass by. So more than my words, if you watch the video we have put on Instagram, or this video, of course, that will be on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, you will appreciate why, for me, this was the best watch I have seen. Now, a small disclaimer: I haven't seen all the watches that were presented at Watches and Wonders, but like Johnny said at the beginning, but out of what we've seen, I came back with a big smile when we saw that together, Johnny.
I think we've seen about a quarter of the watches that were on display, and I have cheated, Pietro, because I have added a couple of honourable mentions through those that have not been included in our top three or our nearly top three, because there was also Vianney Halter, our great friend, did a collaboration with Beauregard, who brought out their first men's watch. Man, how can you not just love that? You know, it is
Absolutely. Beauregard, they make some of the most inspiring jewelry, let's say, watches.
ladies' watches. Absolutely, they are
Yeah,
onto
yeah,
something there that so many watch brands just have glossed over to say, "Oh yeah, ladies' watches. Yeah, we'll come back to you on that." Beauregard have built their brand on their ladies' watches collections, and are absolutely beautiful, as you said, jewelry watches, and just exquisite art pieces. They've done this 10-piece edition. It's their first men's watch for the Ulysses, and as I say, I think you'll be seeing this watch come awards time as well, Pietro.
yeah. And the second one, and you
Oh,
mentioned
you
there
know
was
I
a
have a
second
second.
one
You
as
know I
well.
have a second one, don't you? Because yes, this is.
Oh, you just said it wasn't a wild guess. Oh yes, oh yes, the
How could you not?
RS23. Absolutely. Um, yeah,
Rudis
yeah,
Sylva. We
yeah.
we had strong words with this company to tell them to get their act together and get lovely images out and start flooding social media with images of their creations, because are the creators of the harmonious oscillator, the two balances that wheels that are actually toothed and are operate together. This is reduces any loss of isochronism pretty much. And as I say, it's just a watch and a company that are creating these extraordinarily beautiful architectural, mechanically sophisticated timepieces. And Pietro, I'm sorry for going over my time and nominating two, cheating on you. That's what happens whenever you let me do the images and I can have fun and pick my
It's
choices.
fantastic. We just had a pick on another of your shirts, which were absolutely brilliant during the whole of the exhibition, and they really matched the timepieces as well. So yeah, well done, well
You
done.
have no idea, Pietro, the effort that goes into this presentation, that even in my wardrobe, I make sure I know what I'm going to be looking at on a particular day. And Goldfinger, yeah, Remy Cools for his GPHG Tourbillon also, yeah. Goldfinger, there were so many watches we did not get to see. And as I say, I think if we saw 25% of the brands that were exhibiting, we probably only saw 30% of the watches. And it was, you can't get around it all, Pietro. It is non-stop. And there was no fancy business lunches or anything, was there? Like a packet of KP peanuts for lunch, and if we were lucky. And
Absolutely. We
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 were,
really tried to make the most of our
yeah,
time, and I think we did. So,
we,
but thank you so much, Johnny, for this. I think it was, obviously we would love to hear from you if you agree, if you don't agree with our selection. Let us know what you appreciated. Like we've just heard about, Remy Cools. Remy Cools, a watchmaker we really, really admire. We tried many times to be in touch with him and to kind of persuade him to do something with us, because it's a story that we would have loved to tell,
sure.
but unfortunately I think Remy is too busy. We've never heard from him, and we'll just keep lining up and seeing what he will present in the future and do our best to be able to tell the story. I hope you enjoyed the Kalinick Kleiss story as well, which the interview that went really well. You find it now on our podcast. That's what we do, guys. We create content every single day on what we are passionate about, and we are passionate about independent watchmaking. 10 years ago, in a different format on Instagram, it was Johnny and I were kind of making a bulk claim that if watchmaking was here to stay, it would have been most probably because of the independents and the artisan watchmakers. Well, I'm kind of I find a bit of pleasure to see that now this is not a hidden kind of a secret gem of knowledge, but it's actually what is definitely happening as we see the volume market of luxury watches shrinking in many ways. We see the never seen before flourishing of the independents and the artisans that are actually the bone and the blood of what we are passionate about. So I can see, Johnny, everyone can see that today, and it's great fun.
No doubt, no doubt. It's look, you walk into the AHCI event and you look at the people who are in talking to the watchmaking hall. Those people were mostly in Palexpo for the previous years, or if they were in Basel World, they were in Hall 1.1 and dealing with the big brands, the globally recognized brands, and increasingly. And it is very satisfying to see, because we love so many of these people. We've broken bread with them for years. We've sat at the table and listened to the stories and laughed and sometimes even sang with them. And, and it is very satisfying to see them enjoying this amazing success and amazing exposure that so many are coming out. As you mentioned, the two guys, Johannes Kalinic, Thibaut Claes, who we spoke to in another episode, that they haven't got their first watch out and their order books are full. So man, you know.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I'm so curious to see where things will go, but as I said, the art of watchmaking is far beyond than just a watch that needs to be on a shelf of a random store around the world for the distracted customer to just happen to walk in the store. So because of that, we try to create content on a daily basis, and please let us know any idea on how we can improve with what we do, and we will oblige. So thank you very much. If you like this, it doesn't really matter, but we came to 50,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel, which is incredible, and thank you so much for that. If you want to keep subscribing, if you haven't done, I am told it can be a good thing, and there is also a bell that where you can actually decide if you want to have notifications about our next videos. Just no stress, just do what you think is right for you, so you can enjoy your passion for independent watchmaking, and we are here for that. Johnny, thank you very much. I had a great time again in Geneva sharing all those moments with you, and I'll see you very soon for our next live.
Excellent. Can't wait, Pietro. You look after yourself. Thanks, everyone.